I don't know where that left off. I need a different video recording thing. All I got to do is get a battery for my camcorder. In case it didn't record, I'm going to go back to where your brain is healing. It's rewiring itself. And a counselor, I do go to counseling. He made a good point. He said, you're used to walking the beaten path, which was, the opiate path, and putting these drugs in me like vitamins, so my body readjusts, my brain mainly readjusted. And now I'm going through the brush, the non-beaten path, and my brain needs to rewire. It's used to the synapses being in a different place, in a different reality, actually. And as you think, your brain rewires, the connections are changed, and it is pretty cool, and that's something pretty nice to study. I mean, you can watch videos on YouTube nowadays. Anything you really want to know, just watch the source. If it's too far-fetched, just watch the source. See, this is why I come out here. If I was going to jump in my car and go cop drugs, I could be there in a half hour. Why would I? I was pretty bad when I quit, and I've been using a long time, and it was to the point where I felt like I was dying. Every day I was getting worse, I felt worse, I was getting sicker and sicker. I was taking pretty high amounts. And what breaks my heart is every time one of these kids dies, I see 18 years old, they died from this heroin fentanyl mixture. Seems to have backed off a little bit, but heroin dealers are not typically generous people. They're not giving you these giant bags that'll kill you deliberately. They might be giving you a strong dose so you come back, but they don't want people dying. So I don't know what happened with this fentanyl in this past summer, but a lot of kids died needlessly. And I guarantee you, most of them came in on the lower tabs. But getting back to brain health, walking like this, I mean, at first I could hardly walk for a half an hour when I first came off. You just want to lay around. Methadone helps with that a real lot. I mean, I didn't miss a day, maybe a day's work. And I have a job that pretty much accommodates being a fuck up. No insult to anybody that works there. I've had hepatitis C since 1979. This is 2015. I know the anxiety about that gets pressed into you, but if you're not showing liver damage, and it takes a long, long time, don't even worry about it. Don't even think about it, because it takes a long time, and I drank a lot of alcohol and took a lot of messed up drugs, and I have very little liver damage. And eventually, pretty soon, the cure will be available to everybody. And right now my insurance won't cover me for it, but I don't think I'm really suffering from it. It might have effects I don't realize, but my liver's not in bad shape. The other day I wasn't paying attention to where I was walking, filming like this, and I slipped. And that's a pretty far drop. Maybe a broken leg. Actually, it wasn't at this spot, it was where the cliff is. So that's a good analogy just to walk through recovery with, is watch where you're going. Stay on the path. Don't deviate. Control your thoughts. Mindfulness is the first step. The guided meditations are another step. The guided meditations truly helped me enormously. And I tried positive affirmations, which the theory is a little far-fetched, but it doesn't do you any harm. You know, especially Louise Hay, I respect that lady. She came from a hard life and did a lot with her life. And genuinely seems like an extremely happy person. Now, I don't know if it taped this part either. It was about nootropics. I'm not going to tell you where to buy them. This is not the reason for this. They're not something to even try to abuse. They might give you a little more wakefulness, especially if you're on methadone. But they will fry your brain if you try to take mega doses of them. So if this is a parent listening, I use Cernaphoram. I got it from a company in Hawaii. It's very, very tiny doses of it, like 5 milligram doses, 10 milligram. It comes with a little spoon so you can spoon out that much. It helps repair the brain. It increases the blood flow in your brain. They're supposed to make you smarter. I can't attest to that because if they do, I wouldn't know, because I seem like I'm getting naturally smarter just from not using drugs. But I'm pretty positive the Cernaphoram has helped me pull it together a little quicker than I would have, or maybe I wouldn't have evolved. I don't know. But I do recommend them. If someone's compulsive and they're taking all the Tylenols and everything out of the medicine cabinet, it's not advisable if they're not in some kind of control, or you're not in some kind of control. Believe me, I know that getting up all night long, walking around, taking a melatonin, walking around, lay down, can't sleep, get up, take something else, until you're poisoning yourself with over-the-counter garbage. These walks have done me more good. And not that I'm a loner, but in a sense, I gotta say I am. I stopped running with a crowd a long time ago. My drug habits are not as widely known as probably a lot of people's are, because I never really got into stealing from an extended family, and some of the stories I've heard, true tragedies of this drug plague, heroin plague. I was destined to take drugs, and I know I was. I had a surgery when I was 11, and they gave me, I think it was Pentothal, and oh my God, I loved that. I knew what it was going to bring. Always knew what the needle would bring. And it did, but it also brought the horror. Heroin hell is a good way to describe. See, a good walking stick too helps you along. You can get crazy with the analogies, but nature, these analogies to me are really useful. Footing, finding help like this, to grab onto. It could represent a person. There is no shame in opiate replacement. I was in Narcotics Anonymous and told at the time, things might have changed, to keep it to myself that I was taking Suboxone at the time. I remember a kid come saying he had 5 months clean, and he was on methadone, and he just got, you ain't clean. What are you talking about? But man, you really are. And that's all. All that counts is you're alive and well, and you can function, and you can have a good life. You just need the replacement. Because I struggled for, almost 25 years now, just with opiates. And I'm seeing the light of day. And man, I am doing so good. It's not a little pink cloud. And the first year's the gift. A lot of things are just defeatist, in my opinion. I mean, I remember the last time I went to a meeting, a guy had relapsed. And some girl fucking lit him up. I work so hard to be in this community, blah blah blah. And this guy, he doesn't take it seriously. It's like, you might have just pushed this dude into a death roll, you know? He goes out, you just beat him down in a vulnerable situation emotionally, and he might go out and die. And that would be on that bitch that did that. Excuse my language for any parents that might listen to this, because this is the way out. One thing, methadone maintenance. Okay, let me go over this routine. Do not hang around, do not befriend in and out of them clinics. You start hanging around people there, you're going to end up on benzos or cocaine or something else, and it's just as easy to die taking benzos with methadone. Believe me, I'm very lucky, and I am the extreme minority that's still walking after going through a lot of the stuff I did. And I ain't bragging. I admit I am extremely lucky to be able to hug my daughter and wife and breathe this air and look at this scenery. I do acknowledge this. I've been there 6 months. I'm getting 3 takeouts a week now. I've spoken to maybe 2 people in there. And of course, what's the conversation? These guys are going there every day because they're using other drugs. And because they are positive, the organization won't just boot people out knowingly into a possible situation where they'll die. So you can use other drugs, but you're going to go there 7 days a week forever. You start using to where it's noticeable, they will kick you off, because they did kick me off the last time. I'm not doing that this time. I'm not making friends there. I go there very early. I get my number. I sit in my seat. I'm stone-faced. My one advantage I do have that a younger person might not have is that I don't know anybody there. But I can relate to every one of them, and I could tell stories forever. And I could topple out of their shit. There are positive skills that come from being a drug addict, but they are not apparent for quite a long time. And time goes by. My saying used to be, with when I go through withdrawals, pass the time because the time will pass. And when you're deep in withdrawals, that makes sense. And when you're just coming out of it, that'll make sense. Because all of a sudden, it's April. It goes November, April. Speaking of November, this is actually December 1st. And it's gotta be close to 50. Now look at this old oak tree. This is part of what I've really gained, a spirituality, I would say, that I never really was able to grip. If you take a string or a cloth tape and wrap it around about this high, you get the diameter. Then what you do is divide that by 3.14, which is pi, and then times 5 for a red oak tree, and you'll get its age. That tree I did, And it's about 277 years old, give or take 25 years. To me, that is amazing, because when these cities in these areas started becoming built up, they needed all the lumber, and they chopped down most of the oak trees down for probably 20 miles outside of the city limits. But somehow these lasted. There's a few of them, nothing that big, but further down the creek, there's 2 of them about that big. And you're talking the 1700s. And I think that's super cool, man. And that's the kind of stuff I read about and I investigate. I constantly read. Google books. You can type in like the city you live in, and you'll get like old pamphlets or booklets that were written in the 1800s. I mean, I found some from the early 1800s. Very, very cool. I mean, different style of writing. Stay away from books about violence for quite a while, and drugs, of course. It's not like, I know some people look at heroin addiction as almost artistic in a sense, and it impedes creativity. It makes everything worse. It lies to you so beautifully, though, that it's beyond our understanding. Beautifully, I just mean very proficiently. Okay, mindfulness, meditation, nature walking. Nice thing with nature walking, because for a while you're going to think anyone you run into is going to think you're a criminal. Carry a camera with you. It answers a lot of questions without people ever even talking to you. They see you with the camera, they know what you're doing. You're taking pictures. And that's what I do. But today I decided the video. I'm going to update this once in a while. Forward is the way to go, and better is my only goal. I think someone should start Opiate Anonymous. I really can't do it at this time, but I'm throwing it out there and would be a part of it if it was possible, because Crackhead Anonymous is not the place for a lot of us. SOS is just a bunch of drunks that I ran into, but again, I put my foot in my mouth saying that. These things probably help a lot of people. Opiates have become so large that they're a ship of their own. And I do really think opiate replacement is the real way to get off of it. And with that, I'm signing off.